Hey friends, welcome to Third Stall Garage. My name is Doug. This is episode, because I don't remember what episode it is, it'll appear right here. On the restoration of Hendrick, the 66 convertible Beetle. Right here, last episode, we welded on a patch for the quarter panel and did not get the bottom of the door perfectly lined up with the bottom of the quarter panel. So in this episode, we are gonna add an 1/8 inch shim and try to blend it in. And on the underside, I think we'll add a little seam sealer. Worried about protecting the drain hole that's right there so that we don't end up with a potential way to cause rust. So thanks for being part of Third Stall Garage. If you'd like to hit the subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and let's see how this goes today. So we have our piece of 1/8 inch plate stock here. You can see I scribed my 3/4 inch line across there, gave myself an extra 1/2 inch. That should set the depth of my plasma cutter to cut it the right distance away. I'm going to double check that because I think we may need to bump that back further. So using that as an edge should give us a nice straight cut with the plasma cutter. This won't be long enough, so I think we'll have to cut a second piece and weld them together. All right, here we go. Ta-da, and that's hot. Sorry, I forgot to film this. But here's our shim. It's in with 2 tack welds. You can see that the gap right here is tight. And we have a little bit of a larger, just a little bit of a gap there. Maybe 20, 30 thousandths. What we did is put my straight edge on the door and then put the shim flat down to the straight edge. So in theory, the door and the bottom of this will be perfectly in alignment. I'm going to fill the top of this pretty heavily, try to get good penetration with weld all the way across, then grind this down so the part of this that's proud will get ground away. We will have some significant grinding to do. But then we'll be able to blend that down and under, and we will patch in another small piece on the back here. We will also put a few, drop the light. We also put some tack welds on the underside there, and probably put a layer of seam sealer down here too. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see how it goes. We're trying it. So we have this piece here welded in and then blended down. And you can see that it lines up very nicely with the bottom of the door. Here's where we have to put this little patch in yet. So that will go just like that, similar to there. But looking back, you can see that big gap or that jump there, how there's a step up. That's how our door would have looked had we not basically thickened or shimmed the quarter panel down. So our next step is to take this guy and weld it right in there and then blend it in. We did leave an opening there for rainwater to get out. And I left it a little bit larger. Sorry, that's hard to see. I left my patch piece right there a little bit shorter. You can see the sheet metal above it. So I'm gonna weld along that edge, which will seal this up and guarantee that no water or moisture can ever get behind this shim from that rain hole. And then where the shim meets the back flange right there, we'll put a bead of seam sealer in there, which should effectively trap it all and we won't have any rust problems. All right, let's get this welded in. All right, so this is welded in. The question could be asked, when we grind this off, will we be grinding off all of the weld? And I thought about that. The reason I think we'll be okay doing this is there was a natural curve to the upper quarter panel, you know, similar to what you see this joint here. There's a natural radius there, and I welded this hot enough that I think my weld will fill that fillet that's created between the shim and this radius, and also I think there'll be enough penetration that enough of the weld will remain. I also watched as I ground this to see if there was any hot spots. You know, it tends to turn blue as you do it, or you can see gaps in it if you miss spots, and I felt pretty good with it that way. This is also completely not structural. It's just holding this shim in the bottom. Next, I need to go on the end and weld this little corner shut. This ugliness here is gonna be a challenge for another day. All right, the shim is done. A little warm yet, but it blended in fairly well. There's a nice smooth gap all the way along the bottom, and it lines up perfectly with the door. So I'm glad we took that little step to finish that and get it right. I think we'll be happy not looking at an uneven gap for the rest of our life. Learned a lot on this quarter panel. In the previous episode, you saw us really struggle with this joint here. We're in a steep part of a learning curve. You can see that it's not perfect, but overall, the shape of this quarter is really close, and I am happy with that. So call that 1.5 thumbs up instead of 2 thumbs up. Here is the patch that originally was on there. The part that I'm holding with my hand was flapping in the breeze and not really attached to anything. The bottom was a hodgepodge, and this joint right here had sucked so far down in that, how much Bondo do you think it took?
1/4 inch.
There's a good solid 1/4 inch of Bondo in there. So we will need a skim coat on there, but really helped us through a learning curve, and I feel good about that. So stay tuned for more episodes. We're going to be tackling the quarter panel on the other side, as well as a patch in the passenger front wheel well. Thanks. Have a great day. Be kind to someone. Call your mother and tell her you love her. Bye.